So basically, epilepsy is a neurological condition, and it is characterized by 2 or more seizures 24 hours apart in a span of about 1 year. So most people will always confuse other seizures with epilepsy seizures. So there are other causes of other seizures, but for the epileptic one, it has to stay within that definition. It has to be unprovoked, and it has to be 2 or more in 24 hours in a span of about 1 year.
Got you. Okay, then now you've mentioned that, Alice, when did you first notice there was something not right with your body and your processes, you know? And when did you now get the diagnosis that this is actually epilepsy, what you're dealing with, rather?
Oh, it happened after high school. I was washing my bedroom.
Okay. At home?
Yeah, at home. Then I felt it was a bit slippery. I felt, and then I hit my head on on bed at the edge.
Wow.
I fell down. So later that was when I was taken to the hospital, and then the problem started there.
I see.
Yeah.
And were you convulsing? Were you having any seizures?
Yeah, after that, it started happening, conversion after conversions. Yeah.
Okay, then. Now, Nicholas, one of the things I've come to understand is there are people who have a lot of awareness and understanding on epilepsy, but we also have the opposite of that. And now, you know, you're part of an organization that basically handles such matters and cases, right? Yes. So explain to us the polarities, and also, like you mentioned very rightfully, we confuse the seizures for other things when we are not aware of what it is.
Yes, so basically, the society understands what seizures are. But when it comes to epilepsy, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions that are associated with epilepsy. Yeah, so most people still believe that epilepsy is associated with witchcraft.
Yes.
Most people still associate it with demon possession. And some people still believe that these people are cursed. So with that myth and misconception, most people will not go to health facilities because they don't even understand that it is a treatable disease. And again, the stigma that comes with those beliefs makes the society avoid these people. Because you'll find that if one has a seizure, the first reaction of the people around him will be to run away.
I see.
Why do they run away? One, some of them will think that this person, if I touch the guy, I'll get the disease. They believe that it's contagious because epilepsy cannot be transmitted from one person to the other. Some people run away because basically they don't know the first aid measures. They don't know what to do in such a situation.
Exactly.
And some people also assume that these people are dying. So they don't want to be associated with that environment of them.
Or they get scared, rather. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the main things that really affect the response of the community towards persons with epilepsy. Okay,
and was that your case by any chance, Alice? You know, the assumption of why is she convulsing or having seizures, you know? So just take us through from the time now you went to hospital, what the doctor told you, and then when you went back.
So the doctor told me I had a cut on my, behind my head.
You had a cut?
Yeah.
All right.
After I fell down, one of my veins had cut open.
At the back of your head?
At the back of my head after the hit. So when that, the conversion started, and after that, that's when I started treatment. Yeah.
All right. So how was it, you know, he told you, yes, you have a cut, but was he able to diagnose it? Did he immediately catch that this is actually epilepsy, or did it take him a while, or did you have to go back home, and at home, walishanga? Ama walishanga venye Nicholas amesema hapa ni shetani, unajua what is going on. Yeah.
Okay, I had to go back home, but it didn't start at that point. It took time.
Okay.
But as time went by, that's when things started happening. I started conversion. That's when my mom met a friend who introduced her to Kawe clinic.
Okay.
That's when I started attending the clinic.
And how did the cut at the back of your head heal? Did it take a while?
Yeah,
or how was that?
It took a while because it was a big cut. Yeah.
Okay. So, Nicholas, how do you sensitize, you know, others, the organization rather, on epilepsy, or don't run away? These are the first aid measures. This is what you need to do.
Yes, so basically we took a different approach. So we are doing a community-based approach.
Okay.
So that we target the community at the source. Reason being that you'll find that different zones have different challenges. Different areas have different beliefs. So the beliefs that is in this county will be different from the belief that is in the other county. So we mostly engage chiefs. We engage community health promoters because they are the health foot soldiers down there. We engage the community at large, and we involve them in a conversation. We call it the stigma bench. It's like a safe space where people are allowed to talk freely about epilepsy. After such a session, we now get to understand the challenges and the beliefs within that particular area. So when now you are sensitizing and you're informing them about what epilepsy is, you are putting it in the context of their local area and their local beliefs. And that has helped us in really making sure that people are aware of what epilepsy is, and we are sorting the challenges within where they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what have you noticed when it comes to different counties? What's the understanding? Like maybe Mombasa, you know, here in Nairobi, you know, maybe Nyeri and different places?
Funny enough, people assume that the information is not much in the rural areas. Our data shows that the areas that we assume that are well informed have issues with information. Most people don't know more about epilepsy in Nairobi.
Why do you think so?
Than they know in the rural areas. The rural areas, the setup is still the community setup. So people talk. But in urban areas like Nairobi, you don't even know your immediate neighbor. So most of the time people assume you know, and you don't know. So there's that assumption, yeah, these people are already aware, while in real sense they are not aware. So you'll find that areas like, there are some areas where people are even hidden and isolated in some corner somewhere and stoned. The stoning is so that we eliminate this guy so that this thing does not continue spreading within the community. So it's like they are cutting them off.
I see.
And in some other areas, you'll find that women with epilepsy are finding it hard to get married. But within that area where they are not getting married, you find that they are getting pregnant. So who is making them pregnant and is not willing to get them married?
And they're isolated.
Yes. So
sad.
There are other communities where families decide to put these people in a family planning program without the consent of the person who this thing is being done to. The whole idea is that we don't want her to get pregnant. We don't want her to get children because this will propel the disease. It will continue.
Even further.
Yeah. While in real case, you are doing injustice to this lady.
Because you have no understanding of what this is. Wow. That's quite deep. Now, Alice, again, let's go back to your experience, okay? So now your mother has had information, and you have now an understanding that what you're dealing with is epilepsy, right? So how are you now handling yourself, and how frequent were the attacks when they were coming?
Firstly, before they were coming more times, but after taking medication, it goes by reducing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, go by reducing. So it's an improvement.
Okay, but how did your lifestyle change? I think that's what many people would want to understand. You know, like I was telling you right before we came into studio, I had a schoolmate, classmate rather, while in high school, and she would have epileptic attacks. And I remember, like he said, rightfully, many people were afraid. But I used to be able to speak to her, you know, and hold her hand right in the middle. And it was really scary because she was just convulsing and she would stretch out, like her body would really stretch out and become really stiff, you know. And she would always be aware that this attack is about to come before it happened. So, but by the time it happened, she's not there until, you know, it's done. And then we have to put like, you know, something in her mouth so she doesn't bite her tongue and stuff like that, right? So I would like you to give us your experience so anyone who's watching can be able to understand. You'll do that right after the break. We'll be back. Stay with us.